Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to another Thursday afternoon for career guidance. We were discussing about the golden rules of interview, and I hope many of you who have digested those rules and practiced them by now in 1 week's time and attended interviews would have benefited. This week, let us talk about build to adapt. Now, what is this build to adapt? Once you go and appear in an interview, you are tend to get a job. Now, once you have a job on hand, now you have this. Once you have a job on hand, you tend to start planning your career, especially a long-lasting career. But how does a career last long? To get into the nitty-gritties of this, I would like to take you through a very good contemporary story. This story is about the bridge on Chotulaka. In Honduras, which is a Central American country, there was a river called Chotuleka. The Chotuleka always had hurricanes and storms being affected all through the year, and it had become a big headache to the government of Honduras. Now, they had brought in a lot of research and they have asked a lot of engineers to look into this how the hurricanes and storms can be addressed so that Honduras a productive place in the country. Now, once this was done, they identified that by building a bridge on the river Chotulaka, they can streamline a lot of the water that is coming in due to the hurricanes and storms in the season, and it can become productive. Having known this, the Honduras government had called for world bidding to build a bridge over river Chotulaka. Now, as we know, when world bidding opens up, there were top countries in the world: Germany, Switzerland, UK, US, bidding for building this bridge on river Chotulaka. And the best bid came up from, as everyone expects, from the Japanese engineering team. Now, the Japanese engineering team were given this role to build this dam on river Chotulaka. And they started building this bridge in 1996 and completed this in 1998. Now, in 19 now on, the problems due to the hurricanes and storms are mitigated. In that same year of inaugural 1998 October, they had a very unexpected big hurricane Mitch coming and devastating Honduras again, and it had caused a historical 75 centimeters of rain for 4 continuous days, which was a record in those times. And this, which Japanese built, which was 484 meters long bridge, didn't find any use after that Hurricane Mitch. When we say didn't find any use, earlier River Chotulaka used to flow underneath this bridge which was built, which was 484 meters. After this hurricane in October 1998, River Chotulaka started flowing beside the bridge that was built. And you have a road that leads out of the bridge. Now, after this Hurricane Mitch hit this the bridge remained there and the river was flowing by the side of the bridge. Now, imagine this situation. It looks funny, but it really happened. It happened in our contemporary history. Now, after this, the bridge was there standing over nothing and the bridge was going nowhere. Now, this is devastating. So many crores of money that was pumped into building this bridge, and with lots of hope that it can mitigate the hurricanes and storms in the future, did not come to any use. This happened just 22 years ago, but it is very relevant to us today. World is changing rapidly, my dear friends. and we cannot imagine what can happen tomorrow and day after. So you need to keep your thought process open every day. The blue collar segment, let's take the example of carpentry, electrical, plumbing. There are no more those professions or skilled professions which are manually done, because there are a lot of power tools that have come into play with these professions. Unless or until these professionals get adapted with these power tools, their skill sets are redundant. They will no more be in that same job market. Coming to the gray collar jobs, let's take the example of accounts and accountancy. Earlier, accounts and accountancy was confined to huge logbooks, writing of your accounts on pages together. But today, if you see, accounts have been totally into software. Like you hear about Tally, QuickBooks. Unless or until the gray collared person doing accounts knows this software, learns this software, he becomes redundant. Now, let's take the example of white collar jobs. This reality, virtual reality. These are the new day subjects. Unless or until the white collared applicants are abreast with this, they become redundant in the white collared market. Now, Chotulaka is a terrific metaphor for what can happen to your life, career, and business. Take this. A businessman today wants to expand himself into different topographies in a country or all over the world. Now, it's better he understands the business, whether the business is demanding such kind of gregarian expansion. Otherwise, it is difficult for him, right? Similarly, if you're going to subscribe for a new course where you go to learn a new skill, thinking that it is going to fetch you a new career, now please do a strong research into this subject which you want to learn immediately. Because see if that subject is going to stand for next 2 years or 3 years, whether that skill set is going to help you get a career which can last at least for next 4 or 5 years. These are the basic requirements one has to today strongly research. And when you come to life in a broader sense, you want to go and buy a villa, you want to go and buy an expensive car. Look at these two assets which are going to impact the environment, the impact they are going to create. That is going to decide whether what amount of asset you have bought is going to be viable for you in terms of your finance and in terms of your future. So, gone are those days where people used to strongly believe that you build to last. Today, the world is built to adapt. Unless or until you build something which can adapt every day, every hour, and take you to the next day, one day by one day, and then take you to a very lasting career. Think on these lines, build to adapt. Thank you. We'll now open for QA session.
Yes, sir. So Shweta from Jabalpur is asking a question. I have 3 years of experience in Java programming, but I feel my career is stuck right now. What should I do?
Yeah, this is what I've been just telling 10 minutes back. Build to adapt. If Java is becoming redundant, get to know before Java becomes redundant what is next. You need to adapt your research.
Thank you. So the next question is from Manoj and he's from Mohali. Good afternoon, sir. He says, "How to survive office politics?" Is this question.
Okay. Now, first thing is in any job, it is always better to keep yourself neutral. Not necessarily diplomatic. Neutral doesn't mean diplomatic at all. When you are neutral, people start to understand you that you're no more taking sides, either of the employee or of the employer. Now, what happens when you're polarized into a neutral person? People start believing in your senses. people start believing in your judgment, right? This is the best way of you not to get into the office politics.
Oops. The next question is from Kirti and she's from Coimbatore. She said, "What will be your advice to lockdown graduates who receive little or no college time?"
Pardon, pardon.
So she asked that what will be your advice on college graduates who have spent very less time in college because during lockdown they were mostly at home. Exposure was very less to them.
Okay, so what is the question? That
So
is the situation.
yeah, so she's asking any advice. What can you give it to her?
See, in this case, the simple thing is when the pandemic hit, it is not just you. The entire student community had to start working from home. It is a new adaptation. There was no choice to you. Now, once the pandemic is gone and it is addressed, now you have to come back to the originality. Now, what is happening, right? The colleges are opening up and things are opening now into more campuses. So you have to readapt yourself to this new situation.
So the next question is from Manik and he's from Darjeeling. He says, "My brother is a BBA graduate with 2 years of experience in finance job. Is it a right time for MBA?"
See, MBA finance is a very generic stream, right? So MBA has its own bearing when you look at finance, right? Finance happens to be a generic subject and it has more job opportunities when compared to other specializations. So MBA finance is a very good option.
Okay. So the next question is from Alpesh from Surat. He asked, "My question is, should I consider a diploma or a full-time course in filmmaking?"
Okay, now this depends on what kind of aptitude and what kind of future you're looking in film industry, right? You are totally a fresher to this industry and you want to test waters. I suggest you go for a certificate and diploma, go in for a job based on whatever you have learned, so that you know that you have a fixation of what you want to evolve as a career in filmmaking.
So the next question is from Jaya and she's from Indore. She says, "I just got promoted to senior manager accounts. What should I do differently in order to succeed?"
It's very simple as adaptation. Now, see what softwares your organization was using earlier. What are the latest softwares that have come into the market and that can help your organization grow in terms of your finances? Then suggest these to the management and see if they find it as relevant. Get them adapted into your work process and workflow, and there you are.
So Gopal from Bangalore asked, "What would you advise to someone who is confused between literature and journalism?"
These are two contrasting things, literature and journalism. The common element before in between these two could be the language, right? But there are two contrasting things. When we are talking about literature, we are talking about probably writing with a flair. That is literature. But journalism need not be writing with flair. If you see today's journalism, there are so many social media that have come up, and you see so many freelance writers coming up. Unlike in the olden days, where journalism was taken as a serious writing skill and a profession related to writing.
The next question is from Sonia. She is from Jamshedpur, and she asked, "Sorry for the off-topic question. Who do you believe is the next Prime Minister of India?"
See, it's not a easy question to answer or a simple question to answer. I would say, why not you? Why not you? Why are you not thinking that you are capable of leading this country as a youngster? Then depend on somebody or somebody's advice. I would strongly prefer a youth sitting up, sitting up in groups, sitting up in larger groups, and think about this country and take that responsibility.
Moving on to the next question, sir. Shilpi asked from Meerut, "Sir, I have two offers for a junior developer. One is from a startup and other is from an MNC. This will be my first job. Kindly please advise me on this.
This is, I think, a question which most of the youth of this generation ask. See, it all depends on your risk taking and your aptitude and the altitude you want to go to, right? If you're taking up with a startup, you have more challenges to face, but you have more chances and opportunities to come up and demonstrate your skills in a startup, unlike a MNC, where your role is confined to a limited space.
So now Deva will ask questions from YouTube.
Hi sir, we have some questions from YouTube. The first question is from Rajiv, he's from Vizag. My parents want me to join their family business, but I want to do a job. What should I do?
See, this is not a very difficult question unless or until you know your strengths and weaknesses. Parents are always there to guide you and help you because they have seen themselves grow and face the risks in the life. They would definitely want their next generation to prosper or be more comfortable. So, as a parent, anybody would suggest you a couple of good things and they would always lend their guidance. But it all depends upon you and your maturity levels, how much of that guidance, how much of that advice you want to take, and how much of your originality you want to bring about.
Sir, thank you. And we have another question from Imran, who is from Hyderabad. Good afternoon, sir. I see many people advise as an internship. Instead of a full-time MBA, what would you suggest?
See, today in this world, you need not limit yourself only to a regular 2 year MBA. You have different colleges, you have different affiliations, you have different curriculum, and you have so much of choice in MBA. You can go for a 1 year PGP, you can go for a 1 year postgraduate studies. So you have a lot of options like the previous era. So now it becomes more challenging for you to take a choice. If you understand what exactly you want to do way down in 2 years or 3 years and how you want to plan your career, if you have a good plan of your career, I think there you can plug in whatever is available and whatever is the best.
Okay, sir. Thank you. We have another different question. Who is Mr. Suna from Cochin? He is asking, can I start a YouTube channel as a full-time career? I know how to use filmmaking software and can teach me the
Yes and no. Yes, because today's generation they want to be in glamorous professions and they always also want to make good money out of such glamorous profession. But since you are getting into what you want to do, that is a YouTube channel, please study all the stipulations of YouTube. How much of content you need to generate to be qualified to earn money from a YouTube channel. See, till such time you have to your time, money, and resources on it, which is going to be as an investment. In this period, nothing is assured. You're only investing one way, right? So see if your pocket is good for that kind of investment and your family background supports you for that kind of investment and you can wait for that kind of period for a return on investment.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Another question from Ahmad from Bhubaneswar. Hi, sir. When is your next webinar? My friends also want to join.
It's that simple. Every Thursday at 3 p.m.
Yes, sir. And one question from Suma from Guwahati. Beautiful story, sir. What can a fresher with no experience learn from the example of Chutleka?
The story tells you a simple thing that if you want to go long distances, everyday planning matters. Unless or until you don't plan every day, you can't go a long distance. That's the simple moral of the story of Chotulaka.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.